Load shedding. The L word. Load shedding. Basically, it means switching off power to some parts of the country in certain times and switching it on back again after a period of time. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 4 hours, sometimes it's 6 hours, maybe in 2-hour slots. It started a while back, maybe 15 years ago. I don't know, man. When did it start? 2008, 2009? But it started a while back, man. This nonsense. And you see, my brother, my mind, or rather I am mind boggled at how South Africans are so accepting of this preposterous tragedy of load shedding. South Africans are so quick to go to the streets, protest, burn buses, burn property, break windows, beat people up for primarily minor issues, man, you see. Very, very quick. But then now there's this giant of a problem called load shedding. And I will delve into whether or not load shedding is real. But the fact is, it's happening. It's been happening for some years, and there has not been not even one major protest, man. Proper protest in South African fashion against load shedding. And I'm wondering why. Why are South Africans not acting against this thing? And it's late now, man. It's already too late. It is already too late. It's costing us millions, if not billions of rands. I remember.
I think the reason they are doing nothing is because of the explanations.
Stupid
that they are given.
Explanations.
You know, like mechanical failures.
Absolutely ridiculous
Things like that.
explanations. Because during load shedding, there were no mechanical failures. Why? There should have been more mechanical failures. There were more people at home, more geysers working, more stoves working, more heaters working, more refrigerators working, more TVs, Wi-Fi and all that. Why were there no mechanical failures? You remember during load shedding,
But
during lockdown?
Someone can say the system might have taken a strain back then, so now it's only showing the effects of that strain.
That would be so convenient to say. Because this thing started years ago. It's gotten worse now. So here's my 2 cents. South Africans should stand up now, man. Should really, violently stand up and actually fight. Fight this government, which is a proxy of these foreign powers that control our country. You know, this country is not controlled from within. Even the so-called billionaires, your Ruperts, Oppenheimers, they are not even that powerful, man, these guys. They are also puppets. You know, the Oppenheimer family is a German family. So you think these Oppenheimers South Africa suddenly are rich and they are on their own, they're not connected to the other ones. Obviously, they are connected, man. You think Rupert is not connected to the Rothschilds? Your Goldman Sachs and your JP Morgans, they're obviously connected. These are international mafias running this nonsense and burning it down, man, destroying our country. People need to stand up, man. Average South Africans, low class, middle class, upper in middle, whoever you are affected by load shedding. It's bad, brother. It's bad. It costs us productive time. You get home, if you don't have a backup system, you could be using that time to upskill, to learn a new skill, to do a course, to cook quickly, to find rest. You can't do anything because it's dark. Your phone is dead. You can't, there's a lot of things that just go wrong, man, with load shedding. And these days, it's like 6 hours. And it seems like it's gonna get worse. And some people say it's always been the plan.
Let me just ask one question. According to Sandile Wamatsikane, what is the real cause of load shedding?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't believe there's mechanical failures. I know for a fact that this government is so inefficient. I know they handle things poorly. I do accept that 100%. I can see in roads, there's a lot of potholes. It's called potholes, right? Yes, there's a lot of potholes on our roads. I can see the infrastructure is dying. That's absolutely as clear as the day. So that's one problem. Poor management, or let me rather say lack of management of infrastructure. Railway system is dead. Road system is dying. Utilities and parastatals are dying. Your government-owned enterprises are dying. SAA, Metro Rail, which became PRASA, the rail network, and then it's ESCOM. You had Telcom as well. You see, all these government-led institutions are dying because these guys have very, very poor management. Not that they can't change it. They can change and have good management, but then they don't want to because their concern is not a world-class economy. Their concern is not a world-class, well-functioning country that serves her people, but rather their concern is self-interest. When you have people like Gwe Demantashe as the Minister of Mineral Resources or whatever the hell he's a minister of, when you have people like Pravin Gordhan, people like Fikile Mbalula, Pekicele, Gungubele, whoever those other criminals are, and Jimutsecha, who can't even say numbers. There's numbers there, she can't read them out, but then she's the Minister of Education. When you have people like Blade in Zimande, what kind of a name is Blade for that matter, running this country to the ground, and they've been running it for a while now, and there's nothing done to replace them with younger, fresher, smarter.
They're running it though.
Well, not really, evidently. When you've got those people holding positions of power and doing nothing with that power, but rather mocking the poor.
Like Malema used to say, you are a man on top doing nothing.
Absolutely. Doing nothing, just there. When you've got those people, man, what do you expect? You expect a country that's going to fail. So my idea of poor management of resources of this country and infrastructure, absolutely, that's a valid reason. I know it's there. I completely agree that there's poor management and infrastructure is failing. Man, there's nothing as sad as how the rail network is, man, in South Africa. It's sad. Trains do not work, man. It's so sad. Do you know how much money these trains used to save for people, man? You know how taxis are unregulated. They increase their prices and you don't even have a say in it. You can't protest against taxi fare. You can just walk if you want to. They will tell you straight. People are left with no choice but to operate, to use taxis and buses. And buses take forever to get to their destination. You see, trains did a lot of good work in this country, and that system is dead. So there's clear evidence that poor management of South African infrastructure is one reason that this country is this way, and ESCOM is this way as well. I agree and I accept that. But secondly, I also think that there's validity to the idea that there's a deliberate sabotage on these state-owned enterprises. There's a deliberate sabotage for private interest. I'm sorry, man. During lockdown, we had electricity. Some of us even forgot there was load shedding. How did they manage to do that? That means they have the capacity, they have the wherewithal to fix this thing. But then they choose not to because they've got alternative plans. And I dare I say that one of those plans is independent power producers. Ramaphosa and friends want to get their hands on the money bag, on the cookie jar, to sell us electricity. But people like Mutsipe, Jeff Radebe, Johan Rupert, the Oppenheimers, Ramaphosa himself, and many other criminals, they want to sell us electricity. And we'll buy it from them. We have no other choice. If we want electricity, we'll buy it from them. Or we find alternative ways right now. We use gas stoves, which are much more economical. But then they'll also find another way to sabotage that because they've got their hands everywhere. They'll be like, no, gas is expensive nowadays. And they will increase prices by force. You won't have a say in it. So I think even that is a valid explanation, man. Because the example of how lockdown gave them this miraculous amount of capacity to supply electricity, for me, is mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. And you don't see other countries in Southern Africa struggling with load shedding. You don't see Lesotho, a fully landlocked country, or Eswatini, or Botswana struggling with load shedding. So what's this big mechanical problem that we can't solve? We've got some of the best engineers, man. Even Amazon can tell you that. Some of the best software engineers are in this country. Some of the best electrical, mechanical, mechatronic engineers are in this country. Some of the best architects, some of the best professionals in the world are in this country and unfortunately are leaving. Unfortunately are leaving. I myself, I even have downloaded videos that teach German. Because you never know what's going to happen. I might have to go to Germany, yeah? I might have to go to Deutschland and greet those Germans. Guten Tag. You see? I might have to because of the direction that I see this country is taking. And besides the infrastructural decay that you see, there's this deep moral decay, which is even more alarming. The moral decay is even more alarming because you can then steal money that's meant to fix ESCOM. And there's no consequences for that. That one is even more of a problem than a mechanical breakdown at ESCOM. The real breakdown is in the brains of people like Cyril Ramaphosa. It's in the brains of people like Jeff Radebe, Patrice Motsepe, Johan Rupert, Nikki Oppenheimer, Robert Zoff. He just keeps on talking with absolutely no solutions.
Do you think they might be using MK Ultra?
Why not? I mean, mind control has been used for a very long time. I think even during the Nazism, the Nazi thing that they were doing in Germany, that experiment that they were doing, I think there was a very huge element of mind control to the general public. And it's still there even now. Politicians are obviously victims of very, very, very advanced mind control. But also, they are corrupt. And I'm not talking about corrupt with stealing money. I'm talking about moral corruption. Deep in their core, they are deeply compromised human beings who are unreliable. They are unreliable human beings. Some of them even think they're superior than us. You know that? They really think they're superior than the average human being walking on the street. So, besides mind control, which is from an external party, which is probably there, I mean, they are being handled, there is this deep element of moral corruption, man. These guys, some of them went to Tanzania, Angola, Malawi, Uganda. They were in the bushes, in the trenches, living in camps there, fighting. You see?
And bro, there's these declassified CIA documents that have just came out. I think we might just have to indulge in that on another video.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
One question: what do you think about the privatization of the public structures?
It's stupid because they are public for a reason. Look, man, they are public so that they are not private. South Africa is a mixed economy. You see, when you privatize public entities, parastatals, state-owned enterprises, then that means now our future is in the hands of public or of private interest, and you can't control that. Absolutely, there's problems with public enterprises, but then the problems are because of the people who are in charge of the government. So I'm against, man, ESCOM being in the hands of Johan Rupert. I'm against it. I want ESCOM to still be in the hands.
But have you seen how private enterprises, how successful they are?
Have you seen how successful public enterprises are? Look at ESCOM during apartheid. ESCOM was successful during apartheid, man. It was successful. All these entities, they were successful during apartheid, even including SABC. So it has nothing to do with whether they are government enterprises or they are private. It has something to do with the people who are destroying them. So it has, whether or not they are private is irrelevant. The people who are in charge of these institutions, they are serving their own interest instead of really, genuinely wanting to serve the public.
Don't you think if it was private, it would be more successful than it is right now?
I don't know. I don't have any objective evidence. Where are the numbers? It could be successful as a business, absolutely, because obviously the private entities would have the capital and all that, right? But would it serve the purpose? You see, would it serve the purpose of servicing the public? Remember, man, in South Africa we can't. Yes. In South Africa, man, we have a particular history with probably more than 70% of the population in poverty. So we need to have proper government involvement and a deep, deep sense of social responsibility from private entities. And it has not been like that currently. You have companies that hire certain ethnicities and reject other ethnicities. So South African companies are not reliable to serve the public. That's why we have public enterprises. But then now the problem is the government. The government are actually private. They are public on face value, but then their actions are private entities. So even in the hands of private entities, man, I think majority of South Africans will still suffer. So what needs to be done, South Africans need to stand up, fight the hell until things are fixed, or just wreak havoc so that no one gets to benefit. Take those people in power out, vote the ANC out, the DA out, the EFF out, all of them, because they're all criminals. They are criminals, man. They should take us. I'm ready to lead.
You think we need an individual candidate?
Absolutely. You see, now that's where now you're talking. We actually need an individual candidate. This thing didn't work.
Has availed himself.
No, cut. Cheers, guys.